Okay. We've seen we have exponential principal functions. The one we developed in class, first one was this one. Okay, $1,000 times 1.12 to the t. The form of this function is p of t equals p naught times b to the t, where p naught is understood to be p of 0. Okay? It's of that form if p naught equals $1,000 and b equals 1.12. Okay, now, let's say we got an investment and all we know is how much money we have after 4 years and after 12 years. And we want to find out, okay, how much we're going to have 10 years after this, or at whatever time. How much money do we have at t equals 0? Okay? If we know the function, we can do that, because all we got to do is plug t in, and we've got our answer. Okay? If we want to know how much at 30 years, we just put in t equals 30, and there it is, just like we could do for this one. If we know b, and we know p naught. Okay? So we draw a graph. We've got p of t here, and we'll call that y equals p of t, and we have t here. We graph the 2 points in our graph. Okay? Now you know if you have 3 points, you can do a quadratic model, right? Well, we're going to do the same thing with 2 points with an exponential model. We only need 2 points for an exponential model. Okay? So here's our exponential. Here's the form of an exponential. P of t equals b p naught times b to the t. Once you know p naught and b, you've got it. And it's easy to solve. So we expect that we have some kind of a curve here. We have some expected p of t function by this curve that has these points on it. And we have this. Now, go ahead and plug in the values of y, and let's say y equals p naught b to the t, to put it in a real familiar form. Okay? You have a point here that has a t and a y. You have a point here that has a t and a y. That's going to give you 2 equations, right? Write down the 2 equations. Going to keep the camera running. There's about a 2-minute delay from right now. And I'm going to be wandering around. T isn't 4, T is 4. This is T. Okay, but that's good. That's a good start. You're doing the right thing. Okay, there you have it. So we have a little error, but you have the right idea. Okay, so we have y equals p naught b to the t. Take this point. T is 4. Y is 8,000, right? So the point $4 years and $8,000 gives you this. Y is $8,000, T is 4. Okay? If you got 2 points in a Y versus T graph or whatever, and you got a form that has Y and T in it, you take the coordinates of each point and you put it into that form. You get an equation. Okay? And we have then the point 20,000 gives us this. Okay? How are you going to solve these equations? Well, we've solved these equations. Okay? We solved systems like this early in the semester. So let's kind of review. Okay? From the first equation, there are two ways to solve it, okay? What I'm going to do, my preferred way of solving this would be to divide the second equation by the first. Okay, meaning divide the left-hand side of the second equation by the left-hand side of the first, and the right-hand side, same thing, right? And what's going to happen when you divide P naught b to the 20th by P naught b to the 4th? What's going to happen to P naught? It's going to divide out. It won't be there anymore, and you'll have an equation in B that you can easily solve. Okay? You get, switching the sides, P naught b to the 20th divided by P naught b to the 4th equals $20,000 divided by $8,000. Okay? Well, that says then, okay, well, write that down and simplify it for me. Simplify both sides. Good start. Well, everybody I saw either hadn't quite gotten to this because you're copying down this, which you don't want to do because when I ask you to copy this and simplify it, you need to do that. Okay? So I get some feedback so I know what you're doing. So when I say simplify, to copy this and simplify it, means whatever else you're doing, stop it, copy this and simplify it so I can see what you're doing. Unfortunately, what I saw concerns me. Okay? In some cases I didn't see anything, because you know, some of you I got around to first and you didn't have time to do much. But the most common thing I saw here is P naught b to the 5th on this side. if you did that, please, please, please get to the mark. Okay? I can't help you correct this. This is Algebra 1. This is laws of exponents, simplifying expressions. And you really have to remedy this. I'm going to tell you how to do it, but you're not going to get it in most cases, unless you get to the mark. Okay, you need mentoring. And it's just because maybe you slacked in your courses, but maybe you didn't, because y'all don't seem like a bunch of slackers to me. Okay? And when you're coming to class every day, you're doing the homework most of the time, except last Tuesday, I don't know what happened. And you still got to get a lot of stuff done, I'm afraid, but get it by next week and maybe we'll be okay. But it's simply because the courses that you're getting aren't doing the job. Again, I suspect because they're trying to teach courses to people who just aren't going to get them. Mostly because of attitude. But they're trying to cater to that. And it's you know. Anyhow, off my soapbox. Okay. You could write this as P naught over P naught times B to the 20th over B to the 4th. And of course, the right-hand side, I'm letting you use calculators, but you shouldn't really need it. You can reduce 20 over 8 to 10 over 4 to 5 over 2, and that's 2.5. Okay? And you really should be able to do that in your head. But calculators are legal now, so if you got to use it, go ahead. Okay. Now, the point is this left-hand side. I didn't see much trouble on the right-hand side. Okay? First place, it equals this. What's P naught divided by P naught? What do you get when you divide a number by itself? 1. P naught divided by P naught is 1. So that's 1 times. Now, what's B to the 20th over B to the 4th? You know, I hate to ask you to do this, but you should write this out. It'll take me a minute. Not even going to have room on the board. Oh, that last one wanted to be a P. That's what it means. And that does not give you B to the 5th. You don't divide this into this just because you're dividing this by this. You have laws of exponents that tell you what to do, and there's a reason for them. You need to understand it all the way back to the reason, all the way back to this expression. Now it's going to take me a minute still. Now 1 times all this is just all this, because we multiplied by 1, right? That equals now this is a number divided by itself. It's 1, right? Okay? So this is 1. And how many of these are there? Don't count them, figure it out. Sorry? 16, because there were 20. And I think if you count them, it's right, because I had a rhythm going there, but I was talking at the same time, so there might be 100, I don't know. Okay? But there's supposed to be 20, and I think there probably are. So when I did this, I took 4 of them and put them here. That leaves 16. Okay? Now there are laws of exponents you should know like the back of your hand. What you do when you have this and this, you subtract this exponent from this one. And this is why. If you subtract this exponent from this one, you get 16 because you're going to group 4 of these with 4 of these like so and take what's left over. Now you really need to review this video until you understand that. Okay? Otherwise, and my experience is pre-calculus, it just gets totally messed up because you have not had the drill you need and the experience you need to use the laws of exponents effectively unless you think them through. Okay? So, from this, we get b to the 16th equals 2.5. Now I'm going to have to work up the page. Well, that tells you that b to the 16th to the 1/16 equals 2.5 to the 16th. Yeah, let's go this way. So, b to the 16th to the 1/16 is b to the 16th times 1/16. By law, you should know, and I'm going to give you several problems to do, but you probably ought to do a lot more. And that gives you b to the 1, which is just b, and that's 25 to the 1/16, and now you can use your calculator. 1/16 power of 2.5, okay? That halfway makes sense? It should make perfect sense, okay? But as I told you from the very first day of class, you have to know the laws of exponents and know how to use them, okay? If you don't, as I say, get to the mark. Matters can help. And 2.5 to the 1/16, let's see, doubling time here is about maybe 14 years, 12 would be 6%, maybe 1.05. And your calculator will tell you the result. Okay? So now what do we know? Well, we know the value of b. How do we find the value of p naught? We plug in that value of b and take it to the 4th power and divide it into $8,000, right? Okay? So we plug in okay? You got okay, b is 2.5 to the 1/16th, whatever that is. I wouldn't do the decimal approximation at this point. I would write it like this. If you do the decimal approximation, you're going to have a round-off error. You're using your calculator, so if you just do this, you see that we get $8,000 divided by this, okay? And 2.5 to the 1/16th to the 4th is 2.5 to the 1/4 as we multiply the exponents. It's not 1/4, it's the 4th power. Okay, sorry, 2.5 to the 1/16th to the 4th power. Okay? 1/16 times 4 is 1/4 equals, and then you use your calculator. Okay? That'd be around $7,000. Okay? Make sense? Well, hopefully, because that's the process. Now, the first part of the process is, if you got these two things, you plug into this form. If you plug into this form, you can divide the equations. And then if you use the laws of exponents properly, and also understand that P naught divided by P naught gives you 1, okay? You solve the equation. Now the solution kind of goes down here because I thought I'd be able to do it. I should have known better, but I thought I'd be able to do it in just a few lines up here. Okay, but too much explanation. So we had to climb up the board and get the solution all the way up here. I didn't want to go all the way up here and work down because then I would have, no, never mind. But as it turned out, we had to do it like this. Okay, well, that's a process that you can imitate. Everything we've done there, you can imitate when I ask you to do it at home, okay? So just come to the board and do it. So you're going to need to be able to do it. Gives you your exponential model. And now we can write, we plug in the P naught and the B into the form, and we have our function. Okay, I'm going to leave it at this. Solve the equations. We'll worry about what to do with the functions once you understand how to get the functions. Okay?